Hi, and welcome to Everyone Deserves to Learn. I am Maria, I'm the author, and thank you so much for stopping by today. Today we are going to talk about a product, a unit I use in my classes that revolutionized the way I teach. In the 13-14 and 14-15 school year, I used morning work that covered, 4 or 5 different standards a day. By the end of our morning work, my kids were so harried and so worried about finishing all of the components that we had no time to check, review, or even pre-teach if there was a standard that I hadn't covered yet. So I thought, how can I fix this? How can I make this better, not only for my students, but for me? Because I'm the one that then has to go in and grade it all, right? So I decided over the summer to keep it simple, and I made a change for more focused instruction and a review of just one topic or standard at a time. It's better for me for grading and planning. It's better for the kids so they gain a deeper understanding. Now, I have this unit broken up into months, but that's purely for organizational purposes. I have some students who are not allowed to celebrate any holidays, so I think there is maybe one mention at one point of St. Patrick's Day being in March. This is not holiday themed at all. It's just divided into months so I could keep myself organized. I do have 5 weeks in each month, 5 days in a week, so you end up with 45 weeks of morning work, which is going to last me the whole school year, which is great, and even then some. So each week follows the same pattern. This is great for creating classroom independence, and after the first couple of weeks guiding my students through this, they were able to do this on their own just like that. The only skills that change throughout are the grammar and phonics skills, and those happen on Wednesday and Friday, and I'll get to those in just a second. Now, all of these skills are aligned to 3rd and 4th grade Common Core standards and also some to text. The skills don't overlap, so what you'll see is if you haven't taught contractions yet, you can just go in and switch the pages that you print or you project on your whiteboard with the skill you have taught, like syllables. Now what I have here to show you is the scope and sequence that I took directly from Reading Streets. That's what my district uses as a basal reader. So what I wanted to do was keep the topics in order so that my students who I have in my pull-out resource room and ESL classes were learning the same skills at the same time as their mainstream classroom peers. But of course I tailored it to be more on their needs and levels. So I was using this with a combination class, grade 3 and 4, and this was great because I started right on schedule for the beginning of the year, grade 3, and by the end they were ready for 4th graders. My 4th graders, who needed a little bit more help and a boost at the beginning, started with some standards they had already seen, and then ended up ready for the end of 4th grade, right where they should be. So this is great if you're teaching in a district where the kids have lots of gaps in their education, if you're teaching an ESL or special ed or basic skills class. Now let's get into how the unit is set up. Every week on Monday starts with a picture writing prompt. The first week is write a story in 5, 10, or 20 words. The second week is write using 5 senses, so visualizing, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling. Week 3 is expository, and this is something that my students have so much trouble with. Explain how something is happening or how something happened. Week 4 is a persuasive or opinion writing, and week 5 is research. Now, I put research purposely the very last week, and we know that some months don't have 5 weeks in them, some months do. So the research one is really kind of an optional morning work, and this is something that you can set as a month-long project, something that you can send home for homework to do with parents if you have that support in your school district, or something that you can do in class when you have a little bit of extra time, say work on your research project for morning work. What we would do in my room is anything that we started on Monday writing, I would never expect them to finish by the end of morning work time on Monday. They just had to finish by Friday. It was great because then I knew that each week we had a published final draft piece of writing. So I loved this part. For vocabulary, this is really something that's a little bit more independent for students. I have 50 words, and they start in September, 45, excuse me, start in September with the A's, goes all the way to Z's, so you can kind of just keep going with the pattern. You can add this to a vocabulary list you're already using. Of course, if you want to take out a word, if it's too hard for your students or too easy, just supplement it with another, cross it out, and write above it. This is independent work, pretty much, so you can preview, if needed, the Wednesday skill. So let's look at that. Wednesday is a phonics and grammar skill that follows the 3rd and 4th grade reading street sequence, like I spoke about before. So this is something that you may need to pre-teach or spend a little bit time reviewing, if so, but that's why it's on Wednesday. So you have Tuesday if you need it, but you also have Thursday if you need it. Let's talk about Thursday. Thursday is a sentence fix-it, and the sentence always includes the vocabulary word from Tuesday, so your students are getting that loop and getting that spiral. On Friday, this is similar to Wednesday. The phonics and grammar follows Reading Street, and I tried to make this one a little bit more fun, a little bit more interactive. You can always have students do this with a partner, do it in groups, come up on the board and have a class do it, whole group. That would be a really fun thing to do to warm up. Now, I also have the digital versions, and because my school is going paperless, we're moving to these digital versions where it's the exact same product, but instead of having students paste this into their interactive notebooks or keep them in a 3-ring binder, this just goes right into our Google Classroom account, and my students can use their cursor to circle if need be, or they can just type their answers directly on there. So I do have the digital versions for every single month. And I also have the bundles for the whole school year, which is great because then you can just print them out or post them to your online classroom as you see fit. So that was a very, very quick tour through my morning work, and I hope that you find it useful for you and your students. And thank you so much for stopping by and sticking around. Bye!